Now the lattice will get mostly covered up. And you don't have to do lattice if you don't want to. I mean, it can be a perspective nightmare. So if you start drawing every little board, you know, you're gonna get bored.
Oh,
You're gonna get into another kind of nightmare. There's all kinds of them. Can you tell I have nightmares? You know what they say? You know what the old saying is? You don't have dreams, you got nightmares. Just making marks to tell myself the foliage is generally in this sort of area. I'm gonna have some of my foliage coming out into the sky. And you see, I took the big tree in the background and I just put it in a circle. In fact, I'm gonna take some of this circle right out of the piece like that. So now I'm not gonna bother putting in every board, but I kind of want to let myself know what direction they're kind of going in, like this. These ones are going straight up and down like this. And then over here we've got these guys doing this again. So I guess like that way. I'm gonna have another one in here doing something like that. Just, in other words, don't get too complicated with the drawing. Right. Plein air is the art of suggestion. You're getting sleepy. Sleepy. I'm just joking.
Getting sleepy?
The art of suggestion. Am I too early for it in the morning for it?
Yeah,
it's just coffee. I think you can. Well, I'm not going to make it extremely blue. I just could use a little color in there. Maybe even a couple of violets or something up there in the air, something like that. But here's the big brush. Works really good. And then I'm going to put in the trees. They're kind of a gray green, so I'm not going to try to make my color really pretty. I've just got a blue that I'm throwing in here and it's making it kind of gray, and I'm going to throw a little yellow in that, which kind of greens it, and then put it up there like that. And you put it right up into the water and see it just dissipates. I'm going to take that right off.
I really like what that brush does.
It's a nice brush. You may have to get one.
I know. I got one of the brushes too. I like it a lot.
They are really excellent brushes.
And it absorbs so much of water and color that you don't have to keep dipping. Exactly, it doesn't dry out.
Yeah, create the natural gradation.
Right.
Look at that.
And sometimes, like if I'm getting this straight line there, it's okay, but maybe I want it to come back in, just hold it upside down. Let gravity do some work. That's natural, right? Yeah. There's a little copy space right there. And so I'm going to take that color, and we've got some little slots in between here, and I'm just going to, I'm seeing a few little like, and then since I decided to put more of this in the background, I'll just keep it going there. That's all the background I'm seeing through that part. A couple other guys through here. Look how complex that is. Don't try to solve all that. You'll be here like maybe like one of those Caltechies over there. Okay. Nothing against Caltech, but this is sort of the other side. Okay.
We do not want to get Caltech-ish about our art.
Caltech-esque?
Yeah, we don't want that either.
We're going to get along. Okay. So I'm seeing all this greenery coming up in the foreground. I'm going to hit it more saturation and so I'm going for a lot more yellowy stuff up in here. And I'm just going to pull it right up through there and have it sort of meander through a couple of these guys and right up into the background and right out of there. La-di-da-di-da. Creativity comes out of fun. Like, you don't have to tell a kid to be creative.
No.
It's a natural thing. That's why they haven't learned, they haven't got the creativity stamped out of them yet.
No, and they don't censor their creativity like we do.
True. I'm not really sure what that means, but it sounds really good.
They're not inhibited. They
Yeah.
have, they have their imagination.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my niece, I was playing with pink polar bears, like polar bears,
Yeah.
pink polar bears, and I said, "Oh my gosh, tell me about it." And she told me this whole little story about the pink polar. And the grandpa in the background, he goes, "There are no pink polar bears." Like that to her, and I thought,
Oh.
this is how it happens, huh?
Right.
And I just, and he looked at me like, quit telling this kid that you got to teach her about reality, all this stuff. And I'm kind of, he didn't say that, but the look. And I'm going,
I saw.
don't you realize what she's learning right now,
I saw a little boy who all that pretty ground cover that's pink and it's in the lake spring. I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, he was running through it, and his mother's like, "Oh, come back! There are probably bees in there, and they're going to sting you." Well, that totally ruined that incredible moment for that child.
Oh.
And there weren't any bees, or if they were busy. They had no.
So what?
They had no time for
I got
them.
stung like crazy growing up, but most of the time, I didn't get stung. So if you really want it really saturated, throw it. But look how much saturation. You know why I'm getting a lot of saturation, even though I'm throwing it right into the green, is because it's still wet, so it pushes all the green away rather than mixing with it too much. But I love this. It looks really intuitive, right? Doesn't it? So, but if you really want a very saturated color, just throw it over white. We've got some of this to play with. We've got all these colors. You can take one of these colors and put it in there. I won't tell. Okay. One thing about roses, if you look, there's hardly any of them all by themselves. Because most people will go same rows, same rows, same rows, same rows, and they put them almost in order.
Yeah.
Because it's a natural thing for people to want to put things symmetrical and in order. So you want to see how asymmetrical this design is, and how we get a lot of overlapping and clumps and patterns of things. So if you can think in that kind of
grouping,
yeah, like so I have one here, one there. You might get a one dangling off the edge there, but that's okay. Maybe crop some right off the side there. And now see the shadows on the lattice. Okay, you see how gray it is? Now I know that I can make that gray. Here it is. It's something like, and I basically just keep mixing the colors on there until I get a gray, sort of a green gray going there. Okay. And I could put something in there, and I could put some of the shadows in there like that. And then it looks very much like the background. And I don't want that. And it does look a lot like the background. But I don't want that. Because I want something more better. But more colorful, maybe like violet. And throw myself in a couple of, a little wetter than that maybe. Although the dry brushing is kind of nice. And what I put them in, but see how I just suggest them in there? I'm not really clinical about it. And they look a little stark all by themselves, so you might want to, if you're doing something like this, throw some foliage on it, right over it. And dry brushing. See, I'm using the side of the brush. See, I'm using the side of the brush. You can. I could have done these too with the tip of the brush, but I wanted the green on here. So. Make some different greens. I just want something interesting and varied. So different kinds of greens. I want some bluer greens. Like that. Let's nestle a few of those right up in there and maybe through into the background. And if I wanted a couple of the leaves, I could just kind of background. See how the brush does a lot of the work. It wants to. I'll throw a few little stems up in there. Oh, maybe one colored column thing here. Nestle that in a little bit with some more foliage over it.
Like in the front. Oh, okay, in the front area.
And so, I'm putting little shadows over the pole, the column thing. What happens is that the foliage casts shadows over it, so you'll get. Like here's some foliage here, it'll cast shadows over that. So you see there's little shadows, even though it's not a hard edge shadow, you'll get darker things inside under the foliage, whereas these out here all by themselves are really bright because they don't have anything blocking the light. All right. Just throwing in a few little shadowy things in there. Trying to come up with again a color for the vines and such. So again, I could have used something dark and gray and brown, but I think I would like to do something a little more violet. In and out. See, lost and found. Sometimes it gets blurry with the soft edge because it's wet into wet, and then it stays stiff with a hard edge. And you want both. So a little vinage going in through there, and then if it gets too stark, just take some water and wet the edge. Just for the lost and found. Possibly you could even throw a couple greens over things just to nestle things in a little bit here and there. Is that dry? Because none of these are really white. We could leave them brighter, but water, it'll kind of lighten it up. Actually, the sky's lighter than the lattice, huh? So it's just an impression, see? not clinical. This isn't, you know, perspective. And please, don't do it if you're not interested in it. In fact, don't do anything in art if you're not interested in it. I mean, unless you feel like you really want to learn it, then that's fine. But watch this now. If I want to make a big deal about these little red ones here, I can get something dark. Remember, your eye will go in areas of contrast and harder edges. So if I come back with that something dark back there, and I could have gone greener, but it's kind of an orangey red, so I can stage that a little bit with some background and let the water, just use a little bit of water on some soft edges. Got a hair in there. Oh well, just leave it. In there. So now here's another thing you can do with watercolor. I'm putting it on really thick without a whole lot of water, because if I want some of these to jump, see? So that'll vibrate off there. It won't be that intense or that bright or whatever, but see how thick I'm putting it on there? It's almost dry brushing right on there. So you can put it on relatively thick like this, and if anyone harasses you about it, just show them a Winslow Homer where he does it everywhere. So does Sargent. Like, you can't do that in my art club.
What did you just say?
People will be like, you, because I'm putting it on relatively opaque.
Yeah.
Some people have this they're taught that that's evil or something. I'm gonna throw a little drama in here. I'm gonna actually throw a little shadow over this.
Ah.
Why am I doing this? Just need, you know, this white is just coming right off my page, so I'm keeping the eye in, so I'm staging it, and I could actually do a little bit of that in here too. And if I do it, I don't want to do it this dramatically, but I'm kind of still doing it here. You'd never know, but it's our secret. Don't tell anyone. You'll be giving away the secrets of the signature in there. Maybe even come back a few more of those little meanders. I lost a few. Little vines here and there. Right into the shadows. I lost the drama of my background trees, but I think that's fine. The attitude is, I know it's not exactly like you intended, but does it work? If it works, why fix it? Sure, you can fix it. You see how stark that one is? So this one feels a little more intuitive to me. This one's, and it's not as important back here. I just wanted a little bit of something. So what I'll do here is just use a little bit of water. Some people even spray it. So you can just use a little bit of water here.
It's not going to be a good picture.
That's my little chihuahua inside me. Look at that look on the face.
Well, we're glad you're awake this morning.
It's like coffee. Some of the big stars are real drama queens. And then you get the other actors who are, you know, always prepared, always on time. They just want to serve.
and they're really excellent at what they do. And so you get them all. You learn how to deal with the personalities, and you've got your other people who you know can fill in the gaps, and you just it's like a big stew or a big thing, you know. I don't know. It's like a garden, really. You know, you're orchestrating this theme you have in mind. Think of it that way. You know, you're just working in big generalities.
There's nothing very specific about this. You know? That's my signature. There you go. Thank you very much.
99.99.95.